Happy Friday on this fine day with pre-market prep. Hope everyone is getting their Friday kicked off on the right foot. Triple D and I got a show cooking up for you. I feel like the title says it all. Carnage continues. Thank you to our wonderful STN user John Dowsett for naming pre-market prep today. He jumped in the STN chat this morning. First thing he said, Carnage continues. Well said, John Dowsett. Data center infrastructure, quantum, nuclear, right at the top of the list there for where some of this carnage is happening. We're going to focus on a lot of the show today on talking about this. Momo names just straight down. Tesla tried to rebound over the 400 level, denied and knocked down another 20 bucks real quick. Bitcoin back under 100,000. Hood coin under pressure. Buying the rips right now is just complete death. That's the exact phrase that Dennis said a little bit earlier. We took a look at a little example in Upstart from last night. Earnings highlights, kind of just Applied Materials AMAT. Heads up, Netflix split is happening on Monday. We'll talk about that a little bit. Merck confirming its deal for CDTX. Our guest today at 8:35 a.m., Louis Sykes, All-Star Charts. We're going to talk about the crypto market and what has been happening, what kind of things have been unwinding. Louis has this all over his radar. Folks, let's get into it here this morning on Pre-Market Prep.
The volatility right now is really incredible.
Wow, look at that consolidation on the upper right chart.
You know what we've seen this earnings season? Some of these expected moves get even more violent. This is why I have switched my strategy 10 years ago. And if you're chasing, you're in trouble.
All right, folks, good morning. Good morning, traders and investors. Let's take a look at S&P 500 futures here, trading down almost 1%, flirting with the 6,700 level here. Let's take a look at NASDAQ futures. Looking at my TradeStation charts here, my wonderful TradeStation charts. TradeStation is the official chart sponsor for pre-market prep. NASDAQ down almost 1.5% here. NASDAQ futures down almost 1.5% here. Let's look at the small cap IWM. IWN down about 1%. Let's take a look real quick before we go get Triple D. Pull up the IBIT, the Bitcoin Trust, down 2.5%. Triple D looks like he's trading away. Let's go get him and see how he's doing this morning. Good morning.
I'm here. I wore my red shirt today.
Oh no, Dennis.
Make bear markets great again.
Woo!
Wow. Carnage continues. That is a great title for the show, and the Carnage has continued here overnight. I'm feeling a little bit better today. Still kind of crappy, but trying to fight through it. This little flu bug here, not a lot of fun. The market's not a lot of fun here right now either if you're long. It's the Momo names. I mean, you don't have to look any further. The stocks that had the biggest bubbles are the stocks that are coming unwound. Like those are the ones, going into, like those data center names that you were talking about, like IREN, relentlessly up $20 to $75 in 2 months. Just gave back half of it. Go just through them. Wi-Fi was another smaller one, but, Nebius is one we've been talking about here too. Going from 130 a week and a half ago to 81 bucks here this morning. I mean, these are just impressive moves. And what we are seeing relentlessly here right now is just selling the rip. They are blindly selling rips. It is working. I know Mr. T, we talked about it last night with Applied Materials. I'm like, I don't even care what they say. They're going to sell the rip. So I know Mr. T had a good trade, short. Congratulations, up at 229 on the Applied Materials rip last night. That doesn't matter right now. It doesn't matter individual earnings. It doesn't matter individual stories. What has taken over control is fear. So they are just selling stocks into strength. So you can probably look, the best thing to look at, and we're going to obviously have Louis Sykes on soon. So we'll talk crypto in a minute. But crypto was rallying like crazy right after the close last night. Like it had a nice rally. Bitcoin was up substantially there. And those rallies just met with more sellers. You come in this morning, it's all gone, and it's trading down again here. We've been concerned about Bitcoin for a long time because it has been leading us down. And we've been talking about those risk assets and saying eventually, if Bitcoin continues to leak like it is, eventually it could start to manifest in other stocks. That is exactly what has happened. So it was the red flag. Bitcoin started selling off before everything else. Crypto started selling off before everything else. We're going to get Louis Sykes' task if there's going to be a bounce, if this is viable, what he thinks. That'll be at 8:35, so stick around. But right now, I mean, caution to the longs is probably the best play. We do in the STN, we always do these overnight bounces, dead cat bounce trades. I was like, I'm not doing any because there's too much risk out here right now, and we could just end up having follow through. That is exactly what occurred. We had way too much follow through. It looked pretty good last night because we were bouncing last night until we got to the overnight session. They started hitting European markets. They started hitting everything else. And we just got, hit again. So let's take us through some of this carnage because it's fun to look at. Like CoreWeave. Look at CoreWeave. You got that up there right now. That was $140. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 days ago.
Yeah.
It's $74. It just got cut in half in 9 days. That's impressive. Like, that's an impressive sell-off. And, we already mentioned Nebius. Tesla's taking it on the chin now. It was sitting up here forever holding on. Now, I've Ron Barron on CNBC trying to talk the stock up. They don't care. No talking Tesla up here right now because right now they're just raising cash. People are concerned that this is something bigger. So many Momo names coming undone.
On the CoreWeave, just real quick, the CoreWeave had worked the last 2 or 3 sessions like this week. So it's not
for
like
dead cat bounces.
For dead cat bounces, yeah. When we got into the STN room, it was around 3:45, 3:50 p.m. You were kicking around some ideas. CoreWeave would have worked the last, I think, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So something changed, last night. Something's been changing in this market. This isn't, you've been saying
what's changed is the bears have taken control. I mean, we're in a bear market in Momo. There's no doubt about it. Not in value. Value holding up very well. Look at Berk.B. Just relentlessly going higher. And if you think that the market is not completely disconnected from all fundamentals, this is your tell. Because here's Berk.B. It's a financial company. Yesterday, all the financials, including XLF, got hammered. Not Berk. Oh, no, our financials are better than the market's financials. No, they're not. It's just people going in defense. He's got 40% cash, and they're like, we got to go somewhere. Warren will know how to do this. They're buying.
Warren.
Have a Berk dropped yesterday. If you were to add up all the values of all of his companies, guaranteed it went down yesterday. But it doesn't matter because we're in this market where Berk is completely inversely correlated with the market right now. And it's just defense. The market is playing defense. If we look what's trading up here this morning, Berk.B trading up. Your staples are trading up. Your oil stocks, which are value trades, are trading up. You've got, some of your utilities are trading up. MasterCard and Visa, which are huge cash cows, are holding up here this morning too. And even Apple. We've been talking about the resilience in Apple. Apple not participating in the sell-off yesterday because people see it as a staple. It is. We've been talking about this on pre-market prep for a long time. It is a staple with a call option on AI. So they are trading it like a staple because they know the iPhones are still there. Is that makes sense fundamentally? Probably not, but that's what the market's doing, and we can't argue with what the market is doing. We just identify the relationships, how they're trading, and we take advantage of that. So right now, Apple, strong, huge relative strength because they like the staple component to it.
We're mentioning a lot of tickers here, and we mentioned the data center infrastructure plays, but just some of the other themes, some of the other spaces here this morning. Quantum right at the top of all the decliners list. QBTS, RGTI, IONQ, QUBT. The nuclear names right there too. ACLO, SMR, LEU, NNE, UUU. These are all down substantially. And then, certainly another place where Momo investors have put their money, the Eric Jackson trades, open and better, getting the beats here today also.
Everything, all the stocks that have no earnings and are like talked about relentlessly on social media, those are the ones getting hit. That's where the bear market is. Like we said, this is a tale of two markets. Don't kid yourself. There's a lot of stocks performing very, very well here. There's a lot of stocks holding up very, very well. So this is completely the tale of two markets. It's value versus growth. We've been talking about this for a while. And right now, this market is all about value because it's playing defense. The drugs have been relentlessly higher. Again, they're defensive. But, I mean, the Momo names, a lot of these stocks had no business being where they were. Stocks just don't go up 2, 3, 400%. So here's a lesson for you. Listen up. When your stock goes up 300%, in 3 weeks or 3 months even, you sell because these are unsustainable gains. They're unsustainable gains. And we're talking about all these stocks that just were crazy moves. IREN, back to that one. $20 in August goes to $76. That's such a gift. Take the gift. Take the gifts. No, it's going to go high. It's going to go up forever. Oh, yes, forever. I've got the one stock that's not going to be in any correction ever. No, you don't. Take the money and run. And right now, I got to tell you, the algos are stupid, but there are so many opportunities to sell this rip. Look at Upstart last night. So Upstart closes at $37.29. The stock's just getting murdered. It was $80 in August. It's $37. This has been the opposite of participating in the market. Gets an insider buy. That would normally be a vote of confidence. That would normally be like, yeah, they buy the algo, the stupid algo last night, buys it up to 38.5. I'm like,
this was it right here.
That is so dumb. I'm like, no way do they even care about that right now. You come in this morning and the stock's down more than the market. Just literally a gift. Sell the rip right now, working better than buy the dip ever did this year. Write that down. Sell the rip is working better than buy the dip ever did, because every rip is getting sold. Blindly selling Applied Materials. Let's talk about the earnings. They were good. The Applied Materials report was good. Bring it up.
Okay. We'll save this Burry comment for a second. Hold that thought.
We're gonna get to Burry too.
We'll get to Burry.
Trade. Michael Burry, shake him out at the top.
All right, Applied Materials Q4 adjusted earnings $217 versus $210. They beat by 7 cents. Not a huge beat there. Sales 6.8 versus about 6.67 billion. The guidance was wide. Adjusted earnings for Q1 expected 198 to 238. Although analysts are around 210, so like kind of right in the middle there of that range. Such a wide range, I don't think the market liked. But this certainly, I know what you're going to say, Dennis, was not the day to report your earnings.
No, not the day to report. It was going to go down no matter what they said. It was going to go down. Now, people say, Denny, no, it's all fundamentals. They didn't like the earnings report. They didn't know. That's why it's down. Stop trading stocks on fundamentals. It's all sentiment, momentum. Fundamentals, in the long run, if you are an investor, sure, buy good companies at reasonable valuations. If you're a trader and you are trading on fundamentals, you're an idiot. Sorry. Stocks do not trade. Again, stock is taken over, sure. But stocks and fundamentals in the short run don't connect. As a trader, you don't care about fundamentals. You care about sometimes technicals, sometimes a story. A headline is fine. So I guess, you can trade headlines, and that is kind of fundamentals. But if you're sitting here crunching your numbers, and I'm talking long-term fundamentals, CFA cap on, and you're sitting here crunching out your PEs, and you're trading on PE, there's no trading on PE. There is investing on PE, but there is no trading on PE. We don't trade on PE. We invest on PE, sure. But trading is all about, you can trade anything. Who gives a crap? Palantir's 150 times sales. So what? This is going up. It's a story. It's hot. It's going up. That is all over now. Palantir, boom, bang, 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 down 3 days in a row. Now, okay, so momentums are all gone. So it's a different story here now. But you can't trade on fundamentals. You invest on fundamentals. So stop thinking, I'm going to short this stock. We're talking to you, even Michael Burry, talking to him. Oh, I'm going to short these stocks because they're overvalued. They've all been overvalued forever, and they just keep going up. Let's talk Michael Burry. This is the very top. We actually shook him out right at the very top. So he's closing down his hedge fund 2 days ago. The market's been going straight down ever since. You know why? Because they got to sucker Michael Burry back in. He's going to be like, man, I got to watch what happens. He'll now probably re-register his hedge fund because he's like, man, this is my market. So they got to sucker him back in. That's what the market's going to do. It's like, at the casino. When they start walking away, we'll give you some comps. We'll comp you a hotel room. Don't leave. That's what they're doing. They're bringing him back in. They'll sucker him back in. And he's like, finally, my market. That's what's going to happen. And again, he's still got some Palantir puts, so he's doing pretty good. They're 50 puts. let's be honest here. Palantir, anything can happen. It could go down there. But in all likelihood, those puts are going off the board worthless. So maybe he's already traded out of them. Who knows? They'll be worth more today than they were yesterday. But you're going out there and buying the 50 puts on Palantir. It's a lottery ticket. It's basically saying everybody's been dead wrong and everything's going out of business. End of the world coming. Something like that. Probably not happening.
So Dennis, walk us through the psychology, conceptualize the Max Payne trade. Michael Burry is the example of this here. How does something like this play out, do you think?
I mean, this is what the market does, even on a short-term basis. It's like, going up. Right now, you're feeling the Max Payne to all the momentum investors. And they're like, yesterday, they're buying the dip, and they're like, oh, it's going to come back. I know it's going to come back. It's down here again, and they're like, well, it's going to come back. And you still haven't broke it. There's still people who believe it's all going to come back. And it might. I mean, we've been in this market where stuff does come back. But I think there's a lot of names here that probably aren't coming back. So again, if you're an investor, and we'll talk to your investors for a second, you buy good companies at reasonable valuations. When stocks trade 150 times sales, it's not reasonable. Palantir would never go into my long-term portfolio at 150 times sales. There's no business being in there. Would I trade it from the long side when it's going up momentum? Absolutely. Would I short it? Absolutely. If it's got the momentum going. But again, we're very disconnected from fundamentals always. I gave that example of Burke.B. It's basically, a fund full of stocks. Full of stocks. You can go look. Maybe we should go look. Burke.B Holdings.
Yeah.
Just for fun. Okay. Just to prove my point. So Burke.B Holdings. What is their number one holding? American Express. Or do you have, I don't know if I have by number one.
I'm looking too in the background.
American Express was down yesterday. It's down again this morning. Doesn't matter because we want Burke.B. It's a story. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was even down yesterday. Apple. Well, Apple's been holding up well. We've been talking about that. So he is defensive. Bank of America, though, huge holding. Stock was down yesterday. Chevron was up. Oil stocks. Occidental Petroleum. Oil's doing okay. He's very defensive. So it's going to hold up better. But you can see that most of these holdings that he had were probably down yesterday. XLF, which obviously Burke.B is a big part of, had a horrible day yesterday. Financials did not have a great day yesterday. They're holding up fairly well. But, Burke.B as a safe haven is kind of stupid. But right now, it doesn't matter. It's inversely correlated, and we just play that out. So that when the market starts going down, they're going to start buying Burke.B. So that's a tradable thing, even though it makes no common sense.
And a couple of our pre-market prep listeners have hit the nail on the head here, blaming Joel. Joel goes away.
It is Joel's fault.
Market takes a tumble. So when Joel is back next
always
week,
sells off when Joel goes away. It is just again and again and again. It fooled us on Monday because we had that huge weekend rally, and I was like, holy crap, I did not see that coming with Joel going on vacation. Well, poof, it's gone. And let's give this perspective here. Let's just give this overall perspective. We're not even back to Friday's low. So if you think it can't get worse, it can get a hell of a lot worse. But the S&Ps are pretty diversified. It's got a lot of value names. Those are all holding up well. And I do think the momentum names, they're way oversold here. I mean, if you're coming in and selling all your momentum names now, you're doing it backwards. I mean, Nebius just went from 120 to 82. Now you're selling it? Probably going to bounce at a certain point here. There's going to be some bounces. Those bounces going to be sold? Probably. So, I mean, it's probably just selling opportunities here. So, lots to consider. I don't have a crystal ball here to tell you where the end of it all is. I can just tell you that the Payne trade is on right now, and it can go a lot longer than a lot of people think.
Great segment. 15 minutes of a lot of good information there. A lot of good discussion.
I'm exhausted now from the sickness.
Yeah, well, you did.
You do the rest of the talking. I'm done.
Okay. You did great, Dennis. You're looking good today. You're sounding good today. Feel like you're back.
I feel a little bit crappy, but I'm still fighting through it. It's okay.
And Joel will be back on Monday, and the market, I'm sure, will resume its glory. So we can blame Joel.
Yeah, when Joel comes back,
and then we can thank him next week.
So maybe it sells off today, and then we got to be long over the weekend because Joel's coming back. It's his liquidity. We need that Joel. He's that player in there. He supports the
want to give a little heads up here. We don't have to spend much time discussing, but Netflix split is happening on Monday. If you were a record holder of Netflix as of November 10th, I believe it was, you will get your shares that you're accrued today, probably after the close or right around the close, and then the stock will start trading split adjusted before market open, at market open, I think, on Monday.
The stock is exhibiting a lot of relative strength right now, and
Yep.
that is because the split is coming. We talk about the pre-split run. Stocks are strong. Netflix is having a pre-split run despite everything selling off. That's impressive in itself.
That's impressive for sure.
Yeah. So what usually happens after the split? They usually get weak. So you have like a bounce off the bat, and then usually the leak happens. So I'd be cautious buying Netflix ahead of the split. Sometimes it works, like for a day trade. Sometimes good to be long ahead of the split. But after the split, we usually see some sustained selling pressure. So, does that happen in this case? It's impossible to know, but I just, quantitatively speaking here, stocks are strong ahead of splits and usually week after. So that's Monday.
Cool. Couple other news items here. We might as well
Sure.
just go over while we got them here. CDTX being taken over by Merck. Pulling up
Lot
the
of
chart now.
premium. What a premium.
So the price for this is $221.50 per share in cash. This is about a $9 billion deal that that Merck is gonna take on here.
That is a huge premium. That's an impressive premium. So Merck is down here just like, and again, this is a
Like,
drop in the bucket for Merck.
right.
Like,
But
let's be
still.
honest, you're talking about a $200 billion pharmaceutical company paying $5 billion for something that's a drop in the bucket for them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not much, but it's a huge premium. Kickstarts the XBI to a certain extent, 0.66%. That's why the XBI is green today. The XBI would be red without this, for sure. Because when you got one component trading up 104%, that's 0.7% for the XBI. Take that out, and XBI is down 0.7% because it's flat right now. So, wow, big premium. And does that make people get excited for some of these smaller pharma companies? Maybe. I mean, pharma's got a whole lot of value everywhere in it. So, you can look at the XBI.
Yeah.
It isn't selling off at all in this. That's good news. Interest rates are going down. That's great news for XBI. It's hard to value it because none of these companies in the XBI, they're the small biotechs, and none of them make money. So it's hard to come in here and value, but some of them will eventually. Like basically, the XBI is just a bunch of lottery tickets. There is some companies, some bigger ones in there, but for the most part, you're just looking at smaller companies typically. The IBB is built completely different. That's all your major biotech companies. But you get like XBI, and it's got Avidity, Revolution, Regeneron is in there, Insight, Amgen. So there's some big ones in there too, but it's got a lot of smaller names too. So a lot of those don't make money. But I mean, resilience. The drugs have been hot. People like the drugs again. Why? Because they're not killing you. They're defensive. Defense is cool right now. Defense. It's cool. That's where we're at.
Also, in the big drug realm today, Bristol Myers trading down a couple bucks, $3 actually. They had to discontinue a trial for Librexia. The indication for ACS, they had to discontinue. There was an independent review that said it was unlikely that this ACS trial would meet the primary endpoint. They're going to discontinue that trial. However, they are going to be continuing with two other indications for Librexia, for AF, and for stroke. And so these trials are still going forward, but Bristol Myers trading down pretty substantially here for BMY.
It's a defensive stock. I tend to think this is the kind of dip that they buy. Obviously, don't like bad news, and Bristol Myers is a little bit of a mess fundamentally. Of all the pharmaceutical companies, this one's probably got the most problems right now. So you don't want to see major drugs not, going through. Does have a 5.5% dividend, which is nice. I tend to think though that they're just going to buy drugs on dips. So I think it's more of an opportunity to buy the dip. I'm not buying a lot of dips, but this one maybe.
All right,
we continue to leak. We're trading at the lows here right now on the S&P. The bounces are just getting sold relentlessly. And that's because there's so many people who are just caught. There's so many people who are like, we're buying the dip yesterday and saying, oh, I know it's going to bounce back. You don't know anything. Follow through. You got some carnage. You probably even got a few little margin calls happening in some of these Momo names. Like when stocks fall 50% in 3 weeks, and there's a lot of them out there, you're probably getting a few margin calls saying, hey, you're all margined up here. You get a lot of like risk here. You need to pony up some more money. That's the worst feeling. Like when you're getting a margin call and you're losing money, now you got to go put more money and throw money at bad positions. I mean, IREN just dropped 76 to 43. So it's down 40% in 5 days. That catches some people. Is it going to bounce? Is there going to be a bounce in here? There will be. Trump will probably come and defend this market. Trump will probably say something. But does that just mean green light go? Or does it give us a bounce to sell? I think we're moving into a little bit more of the defensive value. It's been not just done for a week here, the value names. The value names been hot for like 6 weeks. We've been talking about them. I mean, Burke.B has only been up for the last 2. But there's lots of value names that have been really hot. Like the drugs got hot 3 months ago, the value names.
Mm-hmm.
Like that ETF that I bought, the drugs names, when I was like, this is just getting stupid. I know I'm trying to pick a bottom, but I'm like, it's up 12%. The XLV over the course of the last 3 months, 130 to 152. It's impressive.
So Dennis, you just gave want to backtrack here a sec. You gave a little hint at what margin means for you as an individual trader. What happens in the overall market amid we're starting to get little margin calls in? Does the market behave a little differently? Is there a reaction in
Yeah,
the
it's
market?
relentless selling because it's forced selling. When you have margin calls happening and people don't have the money to put in, they have forced selling. So it changes things. This is not the S&P. We are not in forced selling in the SPY. We have the tale of two markets. You have the S&P, which is quite balanced, actually. Mega cap holding up fairly well, besides Meta, which seems to be down every day. But I mean, Apple's like trying to go, barely down here today. Microsoft's barely down here today. This is not an everything sell-off, folks. This is a sell-off of the bubble-licious stuff that needed to sell off because stocks just don't go up 300-400% in 3 months and don't correct. This is a massive correction. Are there going to be some buying opportunities in here? Everybody keeps asking. Absolutely. There is going to be some buying opportunities in here. Martin's wanting to know, what am I buying here? Let's wait until we actually see a reason to buy. Let's not try to be a hero and catch the dip. Brian Shannon, I keep saying it. He says it the best. Buy the strength after the dip. Don't buy the initial dip. Because you know what? If you're trying to catch the initial dip on IREN, you're just, boom, down, 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 down. 5 days in a row and you're down 40%. Got to be very cautious with what you're buying the dip on. Now, if you're an investor, buy good companies at reasonable valuations. The problem with these Momo names is none of the valuations are reasonable.
Yeah.
So you're not investing in these names. You could trade these names, but it's hard to invest in these names, Brentster. Like, I mean, it's hard to invest in Oklo that doesn't have any revenue at all. How do you invest in that? You can't. And the traders, the Momo guys are all getting out. The value guys are saying, no way. So you're stuck, and that's why stocks fall as fast as they do. You got, once the momentum goes, you need valuation support to sustain a bit. These don't have any valuation support. So you're just seeing an unwind of the trade. They will bounce, momentum will come back. But I would say wait until we actually see momentum coming back, as opposed to trying to be a hero. The hero trade makes you a lot of money sometimes too. You can get it right. It feels like they're oversold. It feels like we're eventually going to bounce here. I'm not coming in and telling you to sell everything. I said it this morning. I said, if you're coming in and selling your Nebius now, I feel like you're totally doing it backwards. I sold at 128. When did I sell Nebius? Brentster.
I can look if you want.
It was the day. We post the trades.
Let me look.
I sold it out on March the 11th at 129. I was like, it's come all the way back. Went from 100 to 129. That was the initial dip. I was like, when it came back down here at 100, I'm like, well, I'm not doing it again because, one, they don't give you a chance to buy the bottom this many times. It's like a triple bottom there at 100. It's going to take it out. Now we're at 81. So do I like Nebius? I think that's got some fundamentals with that Microsoft contract, but let's be honest, it's one company's contract. Like that's floating on one company. There wasn't even hardly any revenue there at all before Microsoft. So I think there's an opportunity here. But why be a hero and say, yeah, today it's going to be 81? The thing could be 71 tomorrow. Well, I don't want to lose that. How do I control the risk? So I think you're better to let it bounce, and then stabilize, and then find something off of that, as opposed to trying to be a hero and saying it's going to be 82. Nobody knows what it's going to be. You could have said that yesterday at 88, and you're down another $6.
Okay, so the alert in SCN says you bought a quote small position in Nebius 102.80 at October,
that was the trade, and then
October
I sold
22nd, and then you sold it November 3rd. at 130, 129,
That was a good
130,
trade.
something like.
Like that was
Oh
a good
yeah,
swing trade. Like I got the bulk of that move.
yeah,
But I'm
for sure.
saying, like, people would say, well, why don't you re-enter at 100? It came all the way back down. Like, because it doesn't give you a chance as many times. And you could feel the unwind happening. It feels different.
Yeah,
It doesn't feel like, this is just a one-off and we're going to bounce back. Like the dip buying is not working right now for the first time, maybe all
yeah,
year. So that's why you got to be somewhat cautious with just blindly coming in and saying, yeah, I'm going to just buy the dip on all this stuff and make a killing here. It's not the case that, it's more prudent right now to be selling rips. It's easier to be selling rips right now. We're always buying dips and selling rips. Right now we're leaning on sell the rip, short the rip. When I say sell, it's synonymous with short or sell. If you're not owning the stock,
yeah.
sell means short.
If you have,
IB only marks sell. It's funny. It's only marked, sell. And that makes the most
funny.
sense. They look in your account, they don't know it, you want to short it. There's a buy and a sell button. The sell button in IB is just automatic looks at your account when you don't own it, you must want to short it. So it's good.
Sweet.
So you don't so it marks it for you. But I mean, people always say, oh, sell. Well, how do you make money selling? Selling is shorting. Sell if you own the stock, you're selling out. If you're not on the stock, you're shorting it.
So Dennis, just as a point of contrast here, that's why I'm asking you this, and I asked you this yesterday in the SDN room, but I'll ask you again. So you mentioned, like the ACLO, like an ACLO, like why to avoid an ACLO here, but what about like a name like a SoFi, SOFI,
Same crap.
same crap.
Yeah, like look at, and just for fun, go and look at the multiples here. SoFi makes a little bit of money, but what is it trading? We can go look it up. My system's running slow because I'm running a billion things right now. Hang on.
Let's see.
SoFi. This is all momentum names caught in this too. You're buying SoFi. It's not as crazy as Nebius, but in the long run, maybe you're going to be okay. But SoFi, it's trading 50 times earnings.
50
It's a hell of a lot
yeah.
more reasonable than a Nebius or something. But again, Nebius is a contract coming, so that could be reasonable too eventually. So, but 50 times earnings are not the stocks you're looking for right now. They're buying stocks that are trading 10 times earnings. That is what they're buying right now. So, I mean, you just got to jump back into the kind of market we're in. We're in a value-oriented market. So, SoFi dip, not getting bought right now. If you bought that dip yesterday, like what an opportunity. It just went from 31 to 28. I'm loading up. It's at 27. Let's wait for it to stabilize. Do I think SoFi could be a good company? Grow? Yeah, sure. Do I want to invest in it? Maybe. Maybe not at 50 times earnings, though.
We are going to be getting Louis Sykes. I think they call him Chief Crypto Analyst at
Nice.
All Star Charts. He should be joining in the next few minutes here. We're standing by for Louis. We'll have nice little Crypto Corner segment. This is the Crypto Corner segment for our Hive sponsored weekly segment. We will stand by for Louis where we'll get his thoughts on Bitcoin and a lot of other crypto names.
While we wait for Louis,
yeah,
I mean, we can continue to go through the carnage that is here. Like, people are asking, what am I doing with my AMD? What am I doing with my Tesla? Nothing. My long-term Tesla, I'm in it. I mean, is it overvalued? It was overvalued a long time ago. I think, and people would say, oh, well, Denny, here you are telling us by good companies reasonable valuations. How is Tesla reasonable valuation? It's like the thought process of not looking at the current earnings, but the thought process of like, if they figure out Optimus, this company changes the world. It's Ron Barron, like I kind of drank that Kool-Aid. But I'm not like I was last year where I was like all in on it. Like I've come down to a conservative position in this. Would I consider buying the dip on Tesla? Yeah, I would. Like I'd come back in here and buy the dip on it. I think they're going to figure it out. But they're still, we're in a de-risking phase here right now. So let's wait till some momentum comes back in. So I'm going to say on the AMDs and the Teslas, I absolutely believe these stocks are going to be higher 5 years from now. So if you want to invest in them at these prices, you can. But I think why not wait until we actually see some momentum coming back in? There's no momentum coming in. All the momentum's going out right now.
I thought it was revealing last night when we were watching Tesla briefly fall below 400. It was trading around 399, 398. And I said to the SCN room, is anybody dying to buy Tesla just under $400? And yes, it rebounded for briefly, but nobody was dying to buy Tesla under $40. And I don't know that people are still dying to buy Tesla around 383, at least in this environment. But that's your near-term hat. Put on your long-term hat, maybe a little different. Looking at the chart, if I had to do a little mild technical analysis here, keep in mind these levels over here all the way back from March, right around 382, 383. But below that, there's not
It's
really,
350.
it's like 360, 350.
Yeah.
And I've been saying it. The $20 interval rule in Tesla has been effective. For whatever reason, the stock's been trading in these $20 intervals, 400, 420, 440, 460. I think that's going to apply, if there is more downside here. We kind of attracted to the 380 level. What do you know? That next level of precedent is like 360, 350.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think there's no reason to be a hero here, and I don't see a hell of a lot in here till 350, 360. I think at 350 is a logical bounce area, but that's another 30 points down. Good bounce. I mean, we just went from 440 3 days ago, so stocks don't go straight down, they don't go straight up. But I think a more logical spot would be the 350. We do have Louis Sykes here. We
Woo,
want to
heck
talk
yeah.
about crypto because it's not only carnage in the stock market, it's carnage in the crypto market here too. So let's see what Louis says.
Cool.
Morning, guys. It's lovely to be joining you.
Good morning, Louis. Good evening, sir. How's your day? How did your Friday go? How's your Saturday going?
It's good. It's currently joining you guys from New Zealand, so it's 2:30 in the morning here
Oh
right
gosh.
now.
Well, thank
And so
you.
I'm pumped just to be talking crypto markets with you guys.
I feel so bad making you come on at 2:30 in the morning. We got to start doing an afternoon show so you can come on, start coming on at normal hours for you here. Or do you just trade all night anyways, Louis? Because the crypto.
I mean,
market's
look,
going
the
all
crypto
night.
markets are open 24/7. I'm used to trading all throughout weird hours of the night, so it's
Oh, so you're
perfectly
wide
fine.
awake right now, so this is easy for you.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are talking about this volatility. If you're a crypto investor, you're used to this kind of volatility. This is just like that's just a normal day for me.
Okay, well let's take it in. Let's take it in and start with Bitcoin here because we've had a significant sell-off over the course of the last 2 months, really, in Bitcoin. We're now under 100,000. So that psychological barrier, we've come under it a couple of times here now. What are you thinking, like just with Bitcoin itself? Let's start with Bitcoin and then we're going to some of the other altcoins. But what are your thoughts here on this recent sell-off? Another buying opportunity, Michael Saylor style, or is this something that is a little more serious?
I heard you talking about Brian Shannon earlier in the conversation, saying you want to buy the strength after the dip, and I think that's particularly true for crypto. You particularly don't want to be, if there's one asset class you don't want to be buying falling knives in, crypto is one of them. And so if you're going to panic early, if you're going to panic, you might as well panic early. And the train has already left the station. Bitcoin broke below that support weeks ago. We retested it early this week, and then we just never got the follow through. And so a lot of the selling that we're seeing in the Bitcoin miners just totally makes sense. They're just catching down to Bitcoin here. And so, I memean, the trend has definitively shifted lower. And so you want to look for signs that we've got some sort of recovery that can be staged before you want to go out buying the dip.
Is this the same for Ethereum? Like same story? I look at the two charts and they kind of look the same. I mean, we topped out in October. We kind of been down since. Like, are they usually pretty correlated, Ethereum and Bitcoin? Like usually trading pretty close together?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got some charts here. Should we throw them?
Oh my
heck yeah.
gosh, yeah, do that.
Yeah, that'd be
Sure.
awesome for sure.
Let's have your screen. Little plus
Share
at the bottom there, Louis.
screen.
The little hieroglyph.
And let me share that for you.
All right.
We'll bring it up here.
All right. Can you see that?
Yeah, we're bringing it up for you right now.
Here we go. Sweet.
So this is what I'm talking about. We had these former 2024 highs in Bitcoin. We were holding them for quite some time. And the bull thesis was, if Bitcoin is holding these 2024 highs, we're still in a bull market. Everywhere else in the stock market and the equity market, Bitcoin is likely to catch higher. But then the flip side of that is, if we lose these former 2024 highs, which eventually happened, then all bets are off. That certainly happened. And then the market was actually really kind to us. It said, you know what? Even if you didn't panic, even if you didn't get out of this trade, we're going to give you another shot at it early this week. We rallied back to these former highs, and the market was like, come on, you've got one last chance. Are you going to take it? And then we just completely collapsed from there. And so it's just polarity 101, former support. when it breaks, becoming resistance on the downside.
Wow, that's such a clean chart. I love your mouse too. The little the mouse where you shake it a little bit and it gives you that line. That's fun. We're gonna get Joel one of those mounts. We're gonna get one of those.
It doesn't take much to impress us. I'll just
Okay,
say.
so at this point in time on Bitcoin, you're just like, say, let's stay back, let's let it do what it wants to do, and maybe give us a cleaner setup, at a later date. Not be a hero and just say, oh, today's going to be the bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been in the crypto markets for a long, long time, and trust me, there's a lot of times where just staying out, not really doing anything is a great move. I think particularly now, it's too late to be shorting. We're talking about some of these Bitcoin miners earlier in the conversation. You talked about IREN. I've got some of those charts here as well. Let's just skip ahead. It's too late to be shorting a lot of these moves now because they've already caught lower to Bitcoin. I certainly don't want to be buying here because the trends just haven't shaped up at all. I want to see some sort of recovery or some sort of major purge lower. And so right now we're just in this in-between zone where I don't really want to be doing a whole lot. And so you're looking at something like MicroStrategy making new lows. You're looking at a lot of these Bitcoin miners really beginning to cool off, even the ones that have pivoted to artificial intelligence. The market, really cared about these guys pivoting to AI, just the stuff like IREN, Applied Digital. But now when the crypto market is having the carnage that it's having, it's saying, you know what, we're just going to lump you in with the Bitcoin miners. We're going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And these things are just getting sold off aggressively. And so I think the train is certainly left, and it's far too late now to be panicking, and it's far too late to be shorting here.
Are there any crypto coins that you're looking at as buying opportunities here, like some of the altcoins, or is it all moving together here? Give us something positive here, Louis.
I mean, one thing that you can say is that on October the 10th, we had the largest crypto crash of all time. And so you wouldn't really see it. If you just looked at Bitcoin and Ethereum, Solana, the largest cryptocurrencies, you wouldn't really see it, right? But if you go down the cap scale, you have a look at some of the smaller altcoins, then the crash really becomes magnified. Like these things, just for perspective, a lot of these things literally crashed 80 to 90% in the space of a single day. And so the entire market essentially got wiped out on October the 10th. And now we're still recovering from the aftermath of that. And so generally speaking, when you see such a big wipeout in crypto, it generally is longer term a really good buying opportunity, particularly for the cryptocurrencies, the technologies that have got that adoption, have got good technologies. And so I think ultimately what we're seeing now is we're seeing, and particularly in crypto, a follow through of that crash on October the 10th. And so I think there's still going to be a lot of stuff that really comes out at the end of this unscathed. And I think is ultimately setting up for a buying opportunity over the long run. So I think right now it's really messy. But am I going to say that the bull market is over and we're going to have a repeat of 2022? I don't necessarily think so. And so I think ultimately a buying opportunity is going to emerge. It's just going to be a little bit patient, waiting for it to happen.
Okay. What about just jumping in? And obviously crypto is one thing. How much correlation does crypto have with like the NASDAQ? Like, years ago, Bitcoin obviously wasn't correlated with crypto at all. But we obviously have a lot of overlap in investors here now. And I've been arguing, and I want to know if you think it holds water, that the crypto sell-off here has kind of now not caused maybe the NASDAQ, because there was a lot of bubbles in here that, obviously, and maybe the NASDAQ is, the wrong thing to look at. We're talking like the momentum names, like the tech stocks that have moved up. Do you think crypto can lead, some of these other momentum names because there's a lot of similar investors in there?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I was thinking about this quite a lot over these last few weeks before Bitcoin had broken down, because I was thinking to myself, hey, look, is Bitcoin the canary in the coal mine of this bull market? Because everything was working. Bitcoin and crypto was the only thing that wasn't working. So was it the canary in the coal mine, or was it the one thing that's just standing out and then it's just going to just rip back and catch high to the stock market? As we're seeing right now, it clearly was the canary. And so I think there's a great amount of evidence and information we can get at looking at Bitcoin. I think, even if you're not a crypto trader and you don't care about crypto at all, and you only are trading, traditional markets, looking at Bitcoin on the weekends is fantastic information. When everything else is closed, Bitcoin and crypto is the one market that is never closed. And you see a tremendous amount of information. And what happens is on Sunday and on Saturday, you get these moves in Bitcoin that tend to dictate the direction for the next week ahead. And so the way that I view Bitcoin, we can read the white papers and have all these conspiracy theories and talk about debasement. I'm not into that. I'm just here to make money. I'm here to participate in these trends, right? And I want to essentially view Bitcoin as just another Magnificent Seven stock. It's correlated in the same ways. It's just, and then these smaller altcoins, stuff like Ethereum, Solana, viewing them more like smaller software and technology stocks. And so again, this whole thing is really correlated. And particularly as the market just grows and grows, it's going to get more correlated over time. And you're seeing that right now.
Okay. So again, Brentster, did you have something?
Nope, I'm just enjoying the conversation so far.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that I will say is MicroStrategy. This is the net asset value chart. This is a really ugly chart. You can tell this is certainly not my chart. I take a lot of pride in how beautiful my charts look, and this one's not one of them. But MicroStrategy now trading back to net asset value, and so this is quite a big deal because, as you can see, this goes all the way back to 2020. But most recently, this peaked on the day that the IBIT, so the Bitcoin ETF, launched futures, or launched options rather. So just think about that. The day that MicroStrategy's premium peaked to NAV was the exact day that IBIT launched options. And so the market was almost just like, you know what? We've got what we needed from you. We don't really need the leverage anymore. We've got these options market. It's like that meme, that Toy Story meme, just like throwing out Woody. It's like, we don't need to play with you anymore. And so now we're back to net asset value. We've gone from 3.5x all the way back down to 1x. And so again, when it comes to panicking, you want to panic early. And in the case of MicroStrategy, a lot of the air has been let out of this bubble. And there's even rumors today. MicroStrategy sold some Bitcoin today for the first time in 2 years. So again, these are the sort of headlines and the sort of stats that we see near the peak of selling, near the end of that that massive selling. And so now a lot of air has been let out of these trades. And I think I just want to make the point that if you're going to panic, you're going to panic early. And right now, a lot of these stocks, they're seeing that purge, they're seeing that follow through back down to Bitcoin. And much of the downside has already taken place.
What do you think of this overall strategy of Michael Saylor? Like just borrowing to buy Bitcoin, just like relentlessly just buying Bitcoin. And I mean, we've seen other, companies trying to follow the same, even GameStop to a certain extent is trying to look at doing this too, like these crypto holding companies. If we go back to 6 months ago, these things were forming left, right, and center because it's like, oh, you got some beat up penny stock and they're going to be a crypto holding company and the stock would pop 300% because of that. Was that just signs that maybe it was like over excess there? And this is like, I mean, this core strategy to myself sounds like absurd, but I mean, the market was rewarding it for a long time. I don't see that much anymore. It's because the market's not rewarding it. But what are your thoughts here on this Michael Saylor? Because that was really at the core for a lot of these companies, this strategy of just buying every dip.
I think there's certainly going to be a place for a corporate Bitcoin and corporate crypto strategy, but absolutely and unequivocally not in the form that is being presented to us today. I think that a lot of these corporate treasuries are the biggest grift of this cycle. These things are just outright scams. They're just opportunistically trying to take advantage of this speculative fever in the markets right now. They're not doing anything innovative, and in fact, they're actually extracting value from the crypto markets rather than adding to it. And so I think a lot of these are going to go to zero in the next bear market. MicroStrategy, I'm not particularly sure. I mean, this thing is really advanced. I'm not a credit analyst, but some of the way that these loans and debt is structured seems a little bit messy to me. That if Bitcoin has one of these big drawdowns, like is pretty standard in one of its bear markets, a lot of these corporate treasuries aren't going to survive. And I think When these corporate treasuries start blowing up, I think that's the moment we begin dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, because that's likely ending the next bear market.
Louis, I'm putting a question up on screen right now from Mike Franz. Any thoughts on other crypto holding companies that are at or below MNAV? He gave a couple of stocks in there. Do you have thoughts on this?
I absolutely hate and despise these trades. I just don't like them at all. These things have just been terrible trades. I mean, they pop for a few days on an announcement that they've done something with crypto, and then they just bleed lower. And then people make the mistake of thinking that because they're leveraged, they're going to catch up if Bitcoin works, but it just hasn't worked out. I just hate these trades. I wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole.
Awesome. Good to know. All right, Louis, we're gonna let you go here. Thanks for joining us so bright and early. I guess it's not even bright where you're at yet, but thanks a bunch for tuning in with us.
All good, guys. This was fun.
Thanks so
It's
much,
always
Lou.
fun with you.
Appreciate it. Get out there and trade
guys.
now all night.
All right, later, Louis.
See you later.
All right, Dennis, we got about 8-9 minutes left in the show here. Usually we're gonna
I just
say
want to talk about a little bit what
debrief.
Louis was saying.
Yeah.
Debrief it to a certain
Yeah.
extent, because what is happening when Louis is pointing out, which is an excellent point, is with crypto there's not a lot of valuation support at all. A lot of these things are just stores of value, so they don't have any value like a physical, like I can do like earnings estimates or anything like that to figure it out. So when he says that we just back off and we wait for strength to come in, who's going to be the person? Who are the people that come in though to actually like stop the thing from going down? Like it's probably shorts, maybe people who are playing on the short side coming in, but who stops it when you don't have value investors eventually coming in? I mean, how do you stop the cascade? It was really like even death by 1,000 cuts. How do you stop that? That's like the question. I wish I would actually ask Louis that. But I mean, if Bitcoin is all momentum traders and it has no momentum, who comes in to stop it from going down? That's my thought process there. So I mean, it's the same thing, and we could talk about all these like iron and all these other like AI plays and all these nuclear plays and all these other things. Same story. It's like it's hard to stop them from going down when there's no valuation support. So that's why you see these stocks fall 30, 40, 50%. Some obviously crypto can do the same probably. I mean, that's the difficult part, is how do you stop them from going down? Brett says, I'm not going to answer that question.
The $23 million question that I
Yeah.
don't have the answer for. I'm sorry.
Trump will stop it. That's what we need. We need a Trump tweet.
Right.
That's what we need here.
I don't even know.
Okay.
I don't even know.
So overall market thoughts here. We're oversold on a lot of those momentum names. They probably have some type of bounce here today. I think like when you get 2 days of carnage like we just had, it's inevitable, like especially like a stock like Nebius, it just went from 120 to 82. I gotta think like there's probably some buyers in here, but we are getting into a gap area on it. I mean, we can show the chart on this one too, Brettster, if you want. We'll bring it back on stage. Nebius, if you wanted to show that one.
Thank you.
I'm just looking here and saying, there is a gap in here, but I mean, there is a Microsoft contract there for $19 billion. So, I'm trying to reach, to say, hey, maybe if they actually do get the money from that contract, that, there is some valuation support down in here. So, I mean, if it filled the gap all the way down to $60, is it a buy? I think so. But again, going completely against what Louis just said, what I said, or to start the show, is why be the hero? Why be the first person to come in and say, this is the bottom? Those are scary trades. And that's how you lose a lot of money, is trying to be the hero. They want to talk Robinhood.
Okay.
Robinhood has been punished severely here in the last week, 2 weeks. 150 2 weeks ago, 114. The company is firing on all cylinders. They released metrics yesterday that were killing it. I mean, it's just a victim of, one, the crypto sell-off, but two, a victim of the momentum names coming out. Do I think there's value in Robinhood at a certain price? Yeah, but you just got to think about the brokerage standpoint. Like, this thing is not cheap compared to other brokerage companies. So I think $100 is huge support on Robinhood. I don't think it's getting there anytime soon, but in this market, who knows? It was 130 yesterday. It's 114 today. So, things can come down. So I do think they would be on my shopping list, but again,
Mhm.
going back to Brian Shannon, which Brian, we've said your name like 3 times on the show today. Let's buy the strength after the dip. Let's not be a hero.
Just to get a little color on something you referenced there, Robinhood's been putting out monthly operating metrics. This press release hit last night. They said funded customers at the end of October, 27 million, up 200,000 month over month. They added 200,000 funded customers from September to October, and the stock didn't react at all. That being said, the stock hasn't really reacted to this news item. Something to keep in mind there, but yeah, this has been an interesting one to watch for sure. Dennis, I asked you. Normally we do some ratings after our guests,
Yep.
like right around this
Yep.
time, a few minutes. I was like, Dennis, you got any ratings? You mentioned one, Baird upgraded at Circle, but you were like, these ratings don't mean anything today. Why did you say that?
Yeah, when you have the macro and you have the big picture, because Circle got upgraded yesterday too. Ratings themselves take a back seat. I mean, as Circle's trading up, so it maybe means something short term. But overall, it's just Circle's in with the Momo names right now. So individual stock news kind of takes a back seat. Just like the same thing with the Upstart Insider buy. Other things being equal, Upstart would be up today. Upstart would be having a pretty decent day because it's a vote of confidence. It's not because it's taking a back seat. Circle's trying. Circle's way oversold. It was $140 10 days ago. We're getting to a point where a lot of these Momo names are definitely oversold, and there's going to be a bounce, and you're going to hear about everybody who bought the dip on Twitter. You're going to hear it all. You won't hear anybody about the people who bought the dip yesterday, but you'll hear it all. If it inevitably happens today, it's going to be like, yeah, man, see, I told you I'm the best stock trader ever, because that's what they have to do. They have to, they're not confident enough in themselves, so they have to brag.
There you go. There you go. That's what
So
it is.
that's what it is.
That's
I
what
mean,
it
when
is.
you have somebody that has to show their account size, it's telling you that this person's not confident enough in their own ability, that they need affirmation that they're good from you, or they're just flat out lying. So there's just so much in social media that is toxic. I mean, reading all this stuff,
Yeah.
you're always going to be like, here's let's just take a minute to debrief all social media.
Okay.
Like, this is why I don't go on Facebook, because everybody's lives are perfect. Everybody, has, the best kids. My kid's a champion. I have the best house. I have the best spouse. I have the best everything. That's what it is. And it makes you feel worse about your own life, because you know what? Nobody posts their shit. Nobody posts all the crap. They only post the best. So you're seeing the best of these people. And then you can get this skewed perception that everybody's life is better than mine. Everybody is making more money in the stock market than I am. Everybody is doing better than I am. I mean, it's not about that, and I think we really need to have perspective that half the stuff you read on Twitter probably isn't real. And even if it is, who cares? Who cares? It's about you. It's not about other people. People want to compare themselves, though. They naturally see, oh, everybody's getting rich, in crypto. I want to get rich there too. I mean, that causes you to chase, it causes you to do bad things. So the best thing you can do is probably just not pay attention to any of this crap. Because, a lot of times it's not even real. People just post stuff up there and it's fake. It may be real. Maybe there is a guy that made $10 million. There probably is a lot of people that made $10 million in crypto. But just keep deep thoughts. Just keep perspective that when you're reading social media, you're seeing the best of everyone. And it's not the case. Like, life is hard. There's ups and downs. So don't think that everybody's doing better than you necessarily, because you see it in social media.
What a way to end.
And I know that people are pointing out that I'm spitting. I'm sick, full on sick. So if it's like, you know what it is? When you go to a play, you know how you go to a play and you sit in the front row? The people are talking because they're projecting their voice, and sometimes they spit. They go, "This is the spray zone." That happens. Just be glad you're not sitting in front of me here right now. Somebody pointing that out.
Who said that? I don't think that person meant like spitting.
I might have spit.
You probably
I'm
spit,
projecting my
but
voice.
no,
I'm yelling. I'm shouting.
I think
it's
they meant
possible.
I think they meant like spitting the truth.
Oh, spitting the truth.
Yeah.
I thought I was physically spitting. I was like, it's possible.
I don't know. I mean, you're probably yes. Trade for the skill. Is that what you meant? Let's get a confirmation. Trade for the skill is laughing. Folks, we got Money Mitch coming up live. He's in the chat. He's been in the chat. He's been hyping you guys up. Money Mitch is going to be on STN around open for a little live trading with Money Mitch. One of the many advantages for the Stock Trader Network. Triple D and I are going to go over there, get ready for the open. We'll talk about some overnight trades. We'll talk about some potential imbalances. We'll talk about what's driving the market today. Thanks, folks. We'll see you next week. Joel will be back, and we can rejoice because the market is going to
market will rally. So that's your best indicator. When Joel comes back from vacation, the markets rally. That's your best indicator right there. Joel's back from vacation here Monday, so expect a big rally over the weekend.
Get your overnight trades ready.
Rally.
All right, folks. Thanks a bunch for joining us on Pre-Market Prep this week.
Yeah.
Everybody have a good weekend.